Well, hi everybody. This is Doyle Dykes, of course, and first of all, I just feel like I need to apologize to you guys. I haven't done any videos in a while, and the reason is I have been so busy doing things. I haven't been sick or anything like that, thank God. But I have been doing a lot of research on lighting. It just went out. Oh my gosh. Anyway, what can I say? I'm driving myself crazy. I just bought a new light bar. I was so proud, and which is kind of funny, really, because I'm a guitar player. I don't know anything about this, but I've been asking friends about it. I just need to read the manual, I suppose, but you can still see me, I guess. And so I've been wanting to get a new camera. I got this really cool camera, but it was so small. And it was the best pocket camera that they say made, but it did great videos. But then the more I looked at it, I'm thinking, okay, well, I need something a little bigger than that. So I took it back and got another really nice Sony camera. And so I should be able to upgrade my videos. And so there you go with that. So I'm doing my best. Of course, this is just on a cell phone here. And I still like using a cell phone, but Zoom, well, let's see, I think I have it right here. They make this really great audio recorder, and I've been an endorser now for Zoom, but I bought this recorder years ago at Sweetwater. And you have XLRs here, and then of course you have two mics here that you can use. And my problem is I don't know how to do things in post and all that. I'm a guitar guy, and so in my research I kept thinking, why couldn't you go through this into your camera? And I found out that you can. And so do research. I mean, it really does. It pays off, folks. And so and I'm thankful for what I've had in the past and the recorder and everything, but I just want something. Somebody mentioned my fisheye look on my guitar, and when I did this, it looked like a banana. And it does. And so I think a lot of it was my lack of knowledge of knowing how to do it, but I'm thinking, okay, now's the time to invest in something better. And so, and I've also been working on this, and we finally got this. This is Full Circle. And this is the physical CD, and yes, I still believe in making CDs. And one of the reasons for that is, I'm just old-fashioned, I guess, but I'm a stickler for finding out information and what an album is all about, and you can't get that just downloading. And I went to a lot of trouble making sure our downloads went on went in time, for this record and everything, and I worked hard on that. Here's the CD itself, which is one of the stickers on the guitar case of this old D45 Martin right here, and so anyway, I should be careful lifting guitars like this, but this is what's actually here. This is this guitar, Full Circle, and I had so much fun doing this. And Holly is my shutterbug. Now she does know a lot about cameras, but putting all this together. I mean, we went to the Chattanooga Choo Choo, and they made the song list look like a train schedule board, and when you look on the inside, it looks like a ticket here. And then of course I was on my way to the studio to finish this record when I found out Jimmy Capps died. Holly had called me, and I just talked to him and his wife, Michelle, a night or two before. I just didn't know he was going to pass away, and I just sat for the first few minutes in the studio, just cried like a baby. And David Huff and I were talking, and David knew Jimmy and Michelle, and I said, David, I gotta dedicate this album to him, and so I did. And so that's what this is about. So to me, you got to have the physical CD. So we've been sending them out, or we were at the post office. I hate to say it because you could make an appointment before, but you can't do that anymore. And so we were there in like an hour, and we just one right after the other. And then I just felt so bad about that. But thank God, we just had our mask on and just did our thing. Yeah. It's a blessings, blessings, ka-ching, ka-ching. But this is the way we're making a living now too. So, but it was an investment to be able to do this. So if you're a musician, let me encourage you, keep making things like this. We're going to go into vinyl, I think, on this too. I've been really, really thinking about it seriously. So full circle. In fact, I was in this very room when I was playing a tune for Eric Johnson. What do you think of this? He said, you should do that on your nylon string guitar, and that's what this is. So I've been playing this so much more here lately. This is my Kirk Sand guitar, and I love this guitar. It's not even plugged in, and I have all these great amps here, and I'm not even using it today because I didn't know I was going to be playing. But it changed when he said do it on the nylon string. I came back in here and I actually wrote that little beginning. It's called La Certeza, the certainty. A lot of you have heard that before, but I want to tell you again. So sometimes things change just by doing an intro and things like that, and spending time with it. I also showed Eric another song that I'd written, and I made up the intro, which sounds like White Rose for Heidi. I recorded this on my Olsen guitar. And I sat right over here on this side of the room, and I recorded it for Eric and just put my phone on the desk over there. And I said, what do you think of this? He said, man, he said, I love it. He said, can I put some violin guitar sounds on there? And it's just doing things like that and sharing with people and to say, what do you think of this song? And passing it over to him, he passed something back over to me. And it's turned out to be my favorite thing on the record. And it was written for Sue Cruz, the White Rose Lady. She said, she told my daughter, Heidi, you need to tell your daddy he needs to write a song for me. And so I did. And that's what that was all about. When she came back around. And it led up to the title of Full Circle, of course, getting the old Martin back, and also getting back into my Guild guitars. And it was just a great time, and I used my Guilds a lot on this. I've had signature guitars with Taylor, also with Godin guitars, and I had a wonderful guitar with them, and they're sold out. I mean, you can't get them. If you find one online, it'd be great to get one because I don't know when they're going to make any more, if they ever do. But if they do, it'll be way into next year. A friend of mine, Kelly Barber, just told me that one of his buddies just found a Gill Doyle Dykes model, which is this right here. And what an amazing instrument. And this one has been out a lot. And I usually keep one of my Olsons out, but... And when I was with Fender and Guild, Kirk Sand, the guy that made the guitar, personally made that guitar, designed one that we were going to put out with Guild guitars. And the way it ended up, they sold the company, and of course, there was one prototype. It belonged to me. They had some other bodies they had not finished yet. And so they gave the guitar to me, and I gave it to Kirk. So I don't even have that guitar, but it's a little shorter scale like this. This is 25 1/4. And it's the same also as well, I don't think it's out here. I thought I had it out, but my Ovation Glenn Campbell, all the Ovation guitars are 25 1/4. Of course, this was made at the Ovation factory, and we didn't even know that. I didn't even realize that an Ovation was 25 and a quarter. And so, yeah, there's so many things. Just do a little research. And, I don't know if I mentioned, but I haven't done any videos because I've been so busy with the record, and also the last 2 or 3 weeks, I made up my mind I'm not going to do any more videos like on the Guitar Pour series or any of that stuff until I get better equipment. And so I invested in on my lights that went out, and it's just I just got this yesterday, so I probably didn't charge it enough, and so I'm excited about that. And it takes an investment, even at a time like this. I think you guys are worth it, and I'm just believing it's going to be blessed. And so I wanted to do just a kind of a laid back time with you today, and there's some Q&As. Maybe this is too late to even go into it, I don't know, but I can read a few of them off and just see what's going on here. And we've been planning on doing this for a while, but Rob writes, not a question but a request. I was privileged enough to see you play at Jansen Brothers Music in Winkler a while back, and yeah, that was up in Canada. And I thought to myself, wouldn't it be great to have a guitar duel? And of course, he calls it a standoff between my 2 favorite acoustic players. Well, thank you very much to put me in with Tom Emmanuel. Could you guys make that happen? Well, neither one of us believe in standoffs. We just believe in getting up there and having a great time. And Tommy is one of the best to do that with because he makes you look good. He wants you to stand out. And I'm the same way. When I'm up there playing with someone, I want to do my best to play as good as I can, accompaniment, while they're doing their thing too. And Tommy's that way. So when you get 2 guys like that, it always works. We were planning on doing a tour years ago. I had been sick, and there are things that were going on. This is a while back, folks. And Tommy got real involved in public broadcast, PBS. And right at the last minute, they called him in to do a tour. And so we didn't do that. Maybe one day we will. I love Tommy. He's a wonderful guy. There's another, let's see, Tanner. Yeah, Tanner Duckworth. I can say your whole name. Hey, Doyle, could you please talk about your hand finger stretches that you do before you play, in order to, to get your tendons and all loosened up and everything. And then my friend Keith Miller said, yeah, it's a great question. And then Randy also said, I'd like to hear some advice about this as well. Well, I didn't do much of that today, but what I do a lot is this. And you try to also, because I'm playing like this all the time, you stretch your back. Just do one of these things and do this every hour that you can. And it gets these muscles too, because this affects this. Believe me, I know that. When I picked up that old Martin while ago, I'm going, I have to watch out how I do this. If it's not natural when you try to pick up something, don't do it. If it doesn't feel right, just leave it alone. And I've learned the hard way, because they say now I have a rotator cuff tear. So I've been doing all these exercises like this with thumbs up, and then doing the weight thing and the band thing and all that, and it's really helping me. And I'm James Burton calls it, don't do the operation, But having said all that, so it's about your shoulders. So watch what you carry, the way you carry your stuff in before you play. Please do that, and be careful even way before you're actually on stage. So it's not just about this; it's about all of it: your neck and your back and the whole thing. And wow, I could be a physical therapist. Things get bad. So anyway, the other thing is, of course, I do this on, this stretches not only your fingers, your hand, but all this. You can feel it up here, and then do it this way. And of course, both sides, and just pull on it. And the moment you pull your skin like that, you can feel it all up in here, and that's great. And also your thumb. And get this from some of the physical therapist guys. There's a couple of guys, they have a website, and they said the most famous physical therapists on the internet. Look them up. One guy, it seemed like his name's Brian. I watch those guys. I love watching them. They're entertaining. very informative, and it'll really help you. And they haven't done some. I haven't seen everything they do on this, but on the other stuff, I've been watching a lot. And I have gone to a doctor and all that, and I've been taking the physical therapy things, but I'm all good. In fact, we've even asked waiters when they're and waitresses when they're in a restaurant carrying all these things. Of course, that may not be politically correct these days. Whatever you call them, they work hard, and then I see these young people, whether it's a guy or a girl, and they're carrying all this really heavy stuff. How do you do that? You get all these plates and all. And they said, well, you do. One guy told us that well, you do all these stretches, and at the end of it, you just shake it off. Just shake it off. And I thought, well, that'd be good for a guitar player. So before I do a show, I'll do this. I'm always doing this type thing, and then I'll shake it off. Then I go out and pick up my guitar. It's amazing what the little shake it off thing will do for you too. And another friend of mine, Marcus, says, hey, Doyle, I've been enjoying your posts. And blessed to see and pleased to see your history of success and substantial contributions through music and ministry. Thank you so much. We went to high school together. Oh, yeah, I remember you. Oh, man, bless your heart. Hey, Marcus, it's been a while. Well, bless your heart. And you're a great musician, too, and I'm sure you're still playing. And another guy named Landon, and name a time you were starstruck. Man, of course, when I met Chet for the first time, yeah, oh my Lord, because he was my hero. But there are a few times that's happened, but very, very few in my life. It's funny because I've seen other guys even. I remember when Don Henley, I was in the studio, and I hear this voice, that sure sounds like Dwayne Eddy in there. And I was producing a thing for my Lights of Marfa book over here. And I'd written a song, and Dwayne played on it. And Dwayne was doing his guitar overdubs and things. And he says, wow, that sounds like Dwayne Eddy. I said, well, that's because it is. He said, can you introduce me? I turn around, and it's Don Henley. And I'm thinking, well, you're pretty cool yourself. And he went in, and he was like a schoolboy standing in front of his hero. And so we're all that way. And it's not an embarrassing, well, I don't worship people. Well, neither do I, but you appreciate them. And I talked to Dwayne about that later. I said, man, I was so surprised to see how awestruck he was with you. And he says, well, Doyle, he said, it's funny, but he said, and maybe I shouldn't say this, but Dwayne's such a sweetheart. If you knew him, if you have an attitude before you meet Dwayne, you better leave it at the door because it's not needed, not tolerated. Dwayne's a wonderful guy. But Dwayne said even when he met George Harrison, he said he could tell that he was nervous. And he said, it's funny, Doyle, because I was that way when I met Chet, he said. And so I think it's when there are people that you admire that are before you, I think I would be that way around Mark Knopfler. I've always wanted to meet him. Never had. Gene says, please give us some lessons on how to play harmonics on the guitar. Well, there are several different ways you can do that. You can do the right hand or the left hand together, like, and the 12th fret and 7th fret and the 5th fret. There are others, but those are main. And if you do a harmonic here on the 5th string, and I'm going to go back and forth like this: 5th, 6th, 4th, 5th, 3rd, 4th, 2nd, 3rd, 1, 2, 3. But if you can stagger them like this. And that's the way Chet and Merle Travis actually ended the... And he said, mistakes and all. And then the other way is when you're just using your thumb pick. And there are other ways of doing this. Steel guitar players. And I've seen Merle doing... where you can kind of emulate a whole chord. And but the way I do it on my right hand only is just pick, and you don't see that when I'm doing this, but you're actually picking with your thumb pick. Hold the index finger out straight and touch it over the 12th fret, and just pick single string. And if you do a chord, you have to do the same thing. And then if you want to add, let's say, let me add like a 2 on that E, instead of just by adding that little finger, one note, a full step up on your 4th string. Now say I'm going to do a bass, and maybe I should be using the amp here. Now let's slide everything up here except the 4th finger here on the F sharp. And use this sort of as your anchor. Do it again. And at the same time, let's use your 3rd finger and just pick your when you move the fret or the chord up. So here's your bass, and now do them both together. I just did a thing. I was talking about a friend of mine. His name was Marcus as well, Marcus Fairbrother. And we used to survey together, and he had long hair, and he looked like a rock star, so I knew this guy's got to be a guitar player. And that was in between my Stamps Quartet and Grandpa Jones, and I surveyed land. And so Marcus and I got to be good friends, and then when I went up to Nashville to work with Grandpa, he came over to the house, and we sat down and played some guitars, and he started... And I had studied Chet Atkins all my life, and I didn't know how he did that. And he showed me, yeah, it's like this. And that, of course, that's the Lenny Bro stuff that Chet did. And so it's the same here. You can do it together. So I got this from Marcus Fairbrother a long time ago. Never forgot it. Of course, he went on to be a huge, successful architect in Washington, D.C. And I'm still a guitar player, but he is too. But now watch, so if you stacker them. James says, could you go over your harmonic picking approach? Well, there you go. I just did that. And thank you for the other comments there too. Robert says, could you please tell us what type of thumb pick you're using or that you recommend? Yes, this is Fred Kelly, and this is a speed pick. This is my orange one, and they're not quite as stiff as the black one because he made these before he passed away, and he sent me quite a few of them. And I love them. I mean, and he makes the shank here a little longer. And I have another one here too called the slick pick that I like to use in the studio sometime to get a little heavier bass sound. But this is what I use. And that's the Fred Kelly speed pick. And then he said, did you start it because Chet, Merle, and other inspiring players did so with the thumb pick? Yes, of course. And thank you for listening, and appreciate your nice comments. And God bless. Love to get up to New York sometime to see you, Long Island. John says, I'm sure your acoustic guitars have been recorded many different ways: stereo, mono, stereo plus pickup, large diaphragm, small diaphragm, tube pre, all these things. Yes, all the above. Yes. And when I record, we usually have a mic here and a mic here. Sometimes we have an XY type thing in front, which is one's pointed this way, a little bit out of, offset this way. And but the most common way is to record around the 14th, 15th fret here with one mic. If you had two mics and one's I don't have them in front of me, They're too far away right now, but I usually use a small diaphragm here and a large diaphragm here, unless you have a matched pair, and then I use the same thing. My favorite mics are the KM56 Neumann tube mics, and Eric Johnson happens to have two of the best ones I've ever heard, and I'm always saying thank you, Eric, so much for buying those mics for me, because I used them on a record I think before he did, but he does a better job using them, I'm sure. But yeah, that's a great thing. We'll also use a pickup, and of course here's you plug it in here, and I use the LB6, and so I use the two mics, then I go to the LB6, and I use a direct line going into the board with the LB6, and it usually goes into some kind of really nice board, and when we mix, we always go into a Neve console, and so we come out of here going into a tube pre, go into an amplifier. Actually, we usually use two. I split it either with well, I could show it to you real quick, and it's an outdated sort of thing, but I actually picked this one up years ago, and I got it for my son, and I saw it in his arsenal. I said, Caleb, do you ever use that, Dad? You can have it. So I bought it anyway, but I said, no, it's his, I said, well, let me trade you. Let me give you some money. No, Dad, and I love this. And this is what Eric Johnson used. And you don't really totally use the coursing as much. You turn it almost all the way down. I'll tell you who else does that. Maybe not with this gadget, but live is James Taylor. He said, always have a little bit of coursing on, but just for the feel of it, not a where you can even tell there's a chorus on there. It just adds dimension. But you split it into two, go into 1 amp here, 1 amp here. We mic those with a Royer, and which is a ribbon mic, and then another 57. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. And so SM57 on each one, and of course you have to have a good engineer or somebody who knows what to do, so you won't have all the cross problems, with the out of phase and things like that. They know how to get that. And so there's so many questions here. I'm going to go to another video, but I'm going to end this one here. But I just want to say, folks, thank you so much for tuning in, and I promise to do more videos as soon as I get my light working and can figure out how to use my new Sony camera. Blessings.